Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us for these live stream reviews. I'm Cade, and
I'm Paul.
Great to have you guys.
We got back.
Yeah, we are back. We got lots of streams to review from all over the world today. We're really looking forward to it. But before we jump in, let me tell you how to get your live stream reviewed in case you're wondering how that's done. This is something that we do for our partners, which our partners also have access to all of our courses and all of our training, and they get one-on-one support from us. So it's more than just live stream reviews, and you can get all of that for just $35 a month. There's a link in the description if you want to become our partner. Go sign up right now or after the stream today, and we would love to have you. Not only do you get access to all that stuff, but your partnership enables us to continue to provide free training to people in developing nations around the world who can't necessarily pay for the training. So we're making churches sound great everywhere, and we're doing it together.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
And we've had a lot of new courses here coming up. We just released Piano Made Simple. So if you haven't got a chance to check out any of our new courses, especially our instrument courses, go check those out.
For sure. And Paul is the mastermind behind all those. He's an instrumental master. I'm the sound guy. He's the instrument guy. He can play any instrument, and he can play them all really well. So he's the mastermind behind all those courses. And as you know, to sound great, not only do you need great sound, but you need some great musicians too. So we wanted to provide the full package, and that's available to you whenever you take the worship team upgrade. You can find all that at the link in the description. But now let's go ahead and jump into these live stream reviews. And also for those joining us live, why don't you go ahead and let us know in the comments that you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And hey, if you have tips along the way, we're working at this together. Just be constructive in your feedback. We don't need any trolls in the comments. That is not helpful for anybody. So let's get into this first live stream review.
All right. First one is from Austin Olmstead. We've heard him before. It's from Our Lady of Angels Catholic Church. He says he's just wanting to fine-tune. We're able to fix some of the issues they had prior with the sound. We've heard them before. We gave them some tips. OBS was taking audio from the Vadio system. The Vadio system had a meeting setting turned on, which caused the mic to pick up more than other mics, being used at the same time to mitigate feedback from multiple mics in the same room. Turned on this setting off and on, and you could actually hear the instruments and vocals. So we'll be excited to hear some of that. They added some reverb and presets to the mics. So we're going to see what they've got. And as far as gear, they're using a Yamaha TF50, and they have 4 mains, 2 on each side, and they're horizontally stacked. So I'm told we have subs, not sure where. So glad you do. So
hope you can hear them.
Yep. Well, we'll try to find some music here in your video here. Let's pull it up. Oh, there it is.
On this, to follow along with
Antiphon, please join in singing number 536, At the Lamb's High Feast We Sing.
That's a lively room. I don't even know if you'd need reverb in that room. But you'd need it for the live stream.
He fed them with the finest wheat and satisfied them with honey from the rock.
Well, I think it sounds really good. For the style of music that this is, there's really nothing that I would change about this. The EQ or the vocal, the lead vocal is EQ'd perfectly. It sounds warm and it's clear all at the same time. I guess if I was going to change something, I would see if I could get a little bit less ambient noise in that, because you're hearing people moving around and you're hearing the chairs kind of squeak and stuff a little bit more than I would want to. Or I guess maybe you could put a gate on is that choir mics or ambient mics that you have going on? It's probably choir mics that are picking up all that noise. So you could put a gate on your choir mics, and I would set the range on the gate to just like maybe 6 to 9 dB. That way when the gate's active, it's only dropping the volume by that much, 6 to 9 dB. Most of the time, whenever you activate a gate on its default setting, the range will be like negative 60 dB, and that would be a very like the swing from 0 dB to negative 60. You're going to really notice in a situation like that. So if I was going to apply a gate to those choir mics, I would have a very small range, and then just have it to where when the choir's not singing, that volume is dropped down just a little bit, so we're not hearing so much of the ambient noise. I want to hear some of it. I just don't want to hear it as prominent as it is right now. What do you think, Paul?
Well, right off the bat, I think the sound has been immaculately improved. I'm hearing the piano, and it sounds great.
It does. It sounds really
mixed
good.
Wonderfully.
Yes.
The choir mics, I would maybe back some of them up and spread them out, so that way those condensers are really picking up everybody. I'm hearing a few hot people on there.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. People forget about the height of their ceiling sometimes, and that affects the sound, even at the mic.
For sure.
So
I didn't get a visual of the choir. Did you actually see the choir in one of the camera shots?
Let's fast forward real quick.
I mean, because if it's just like 5 people in the choir, then that's probably why we would hear.
I'm not seeing any choir video. So unless...
Well, if it were, let's just say it's just a few people. I mean, since we can't see them, say you have 7 people or less in your choir. If that were the case, I wouldn't even use a choir mic sort of setup. I would just get everybody their own mic and then mix it that way, and you're going to get a much better sound that way. Obviously, then you have to mess with, if you want to go wireless, then that's quite an expensive thing to do. But you could go wired mics, and it's really not that expensive to do, but then you have to mess with the clutter of all the mics. So I know you have those sort of things to consider. I'm a sound guy through and through, so I'm like, whatever it takes. I don't mind having a few extra wires if it's going to sound better, but that's just me. And not everybody prioritizes things the same way, and that's okay. If you want to prioritize the visual a little more, then that's totally your call. That's just an idea to throw out there. Awesome.
I like it.
Anything else on that, Paul?
I don't have anything. Sounds
Okay.
great.
Well,
It's much improved.
Awesome. Yeah, great job. Keep doing what you're doing. It sounds great. And again, that was just me being a little nitpicky. You asked for feedback, so I wanted to give you some. But if I heard that live stream online, I wouldn't think anything of it. I would just sit down and enjoy what I was hearing because it sounded really good. While he's pulling up the next one, I want to say hello to some of the people here in the comments. Phil from Canada, Rachel from Wyoming. It's good to have you again, Rachel. Let's see. Comby, you didn't say where you were from, but it's great to have you. What kind of drum cage do you have in the background? It is a 3 or 4. Is it a 4-foot, Dylan? Drum cage behind us? Yeah. It's just a 4-foot plexiglass cage. They consider that kind of like a partial because you can get ones that are a lot taller than that. We couldn't do that because of our LED screen in the back, so it's kind of the best of both worlds for us. It hits the visual aspect and helps us control the sound of our drums. We've tried many things over the years with our drums, from different sticks to even the round plexiglass deflectors that are in front of the cymbals to what we have now. And what we have now is working the best for us. If we were in a little bit bigger room, I would probably not shield them at all. The biggest problem that we have is that our vocalists are basically standing where we're sitting right now. And so, I mean, there's maybe 6 feet between us and the drums. And that creates a lot of bleed into the vocal mics, which is actually what makes the drums overwhelming in this room. If we could get the vocals further away from the drums, we'd be able to solve that problem.
Yep.
Yeah, so we use the shield instead because we can't. The room's too small to
It's better
make
than
the stage
putting him in a
bigger.
cage all by himself.
Yep, for sure. All right, we got Steven. Good to have you. Somebody asked if the piano was not too loud in that live stream we just heard. I didn't think so because I could still hear the vocal nice and clear. It was cutting through. I thought it was really great, actually, because sometimes you would have to bring the piano back in order for the vocal to cut through. But they'd worked their EQ just right in the way that was all sitting in the mix, that they could both be nice and prominent but not fighting each other. And I love that whenever that can happen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Can I please drop my link also, says Sharon. Oh, for your live stream. As much as we would love you to, we have so many that we're going to get through today. I don't think we'll have time for any extras. But if you want to get your live stream reviewed next month, be sure you are one of our partners, and then you'll get the link in your email on how you can submit yours for the next live stream reviews. And you become a partner by using the link in the description. All right, let's go ahead and move on to this next one.
All right. We got Devin Holderman at East Lake Community Church. Some of his issues: help with overall sound and mix. And try not to hit the mic. But he is using a Behringer X32. And we have 2 Electro Voice Evolve 50 speakers, positioned, one on each side of the stage. Assortment of cheap lights positioned on either side of the room to wash the stage, mainly in the pasture podium. Then some cheap wash lights that I used to light the room when the overheads are off. So, didn't really have any questions, so let's just see what he's got. Let's fast forward here to a spot where he's playing.
Miracle, and we're just praising God for that. Why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me.
Awesome. So it looks like we have the lead vocal there on the acoustic guitar, background vocal female, and then the drums. And I don't see any other instruments in this setup. All right, so you have a good sound going. Like if somebody's at home listening to this, they're not going to have a hard time at all following along. And that's like the main thing you need to listen for. Like is it going to be loud enough and things like that. I don't think anybody who's not specifically paying attention to how we can make this mix better is going to notice anything wrong with that mix. So you're doing a great thing. Good job. I do want to tell you how to take it to the next level because I know that's why you submitted this. I'm not loving the ambience that is in this mix, and I was trying to diagnose, is that coming from the reverb that you're using, or is there just too much of the ambient mic, or is the overhead on the drums just a little bit too loud? There was just kind of like this weird ambience with the vocal that was making it not sound as good as it should. So again, without being there and kind of like soloing things out, it's hard to tell where that's coming from, but I would try some different things. Like let's say it's your reverb. I don't think that was it, but if it was, it would just mean that your decay time on your plate reverb is too short, is what I'm hearing. But I have a suspicion that what I'm hearing is the overhead mics on the drums, picking up the ambient noise of the room. And so if that's the case, I would bring the level of those overhead mics down, and to get the amount of drums that you want in the mix, then you would just move the mics a little bit closer to the drums. Where they're positioned currently is a good placement in most cases, but I think probably because the size of your room and the fact that you have a hard background, there's sound bouncing off of that wood that's behind the drums. And maybe how close your speakers are and things like that. It's just your drum overhead mics are just picking up too much ambience from the room. So move your mics down. That will enable you to bring the level of the overheads down, and you're actually going to notice your lead vocal sounding better because that ambience is not fighting. It almost sounds like a phase problem right now. It's just I'm trying to put in just like normal terms. Like it fights. The ambient noise is fighting the direct noise in this mix, specifically for the vocal. He just needs a more direct sound, a more full sound, and that will be accomplished by getting that ambient mic dialed in. Now, another thing that I noticed is I think the acoustic guitar could sound better, especially when it's the only instrument that's on the stage. You should pay special care to making sure that it sounds really great. We've talked about this a lot in previous live stream. This is a common problem with acoustic guitars because most people just buy a guitar from Guitar Center or whatever, and even if it's a multi-$1,000 guitar, the pickup that they put in these guitars is wah, wah, wah. They just put crappy pickups in guitars. And so if you want your guitar to sound really great, you have to go invest the money to put a better pickup into the guitar. And the one that we recommend is the LR Baggs Anthem pickup. And so you'd buy that pickup and you would take your guitar to a luthier and they would install that pickup for you, unless you're brave enough to do it on your own, which Paul is that kind of guy. He would just probably do it on his own. I would not. Sometimes. Depends how brave you're feeling that day.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say about the pickup? You're more...
The pickup is great. I mean, it is a little bit of a work to get that thing installed. So if you've got the experience, then jump in. But if not, just take it to a luthier. It's so much easier. I just took two of mine this week to the shop because I'm like, please fix this. I've been having issues with it for a few months. And I could do it, but I'd much rather, pay somebody and, keep somebody else in business because I know I'm going to need them later.
And it's really not that expensive. I mean, the luthier itself costs what?
For
to put a pickup in?
Maybe $20.
That's all they charge for that?
At least for us.
You must have a sweet deal. Dylan, how much did you charge? Did they charge you to put a pickup in? Over 100? Yeah, I was saying it's probably going to be less than 200. To me, like if it's less than 200, like that's a great deal that somebody's going to make my guitar sound awesome for less than $200. Of course, the pickup itself is what, 600 or so now? Oh, it's just 200 or 300? So we're talking a less than $500 upgrade to make your guitar sound awesome. Totally worth it, even if it's not the primary instrument, but in this case, it is the primary instrument. I mean, seriously, you're going to be like, wow, what a difference just by getting a different pickup. Mm-hmm. And we actually have a video on our YouTube channel that will A and B. Here's what it sounds like before the pickup, and here's what it sounds like after. I bet if you go to our YouTube channel, just search LR Baggs, Baggs, you'll find that video, and you'll see why you should do it. When your acoustic guitar is the star of the show, so put some money into that guitar, make it sound awesome. Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do with the mixer to make a stock pickup sound awesome. We've tried. And in this case, you just need better gear.
Not to brag, but I've got a Martin that costs over a couple of grand, and those stock pickups, nope. I'd much rather have the LR Baggs.
Yep.
And maybe that's kind of the monster that it is. You get a really nice guitar, a lot of great tone woods, but they kind of skimp out on the electronics because it's for the electronics. So get something specified like the LR Baggs. It's worth it.
Yeah, because if you were in a studio, you would just mic the guitar, and that's probably what they have in mind when they're making these acoustic guitars. You're just going to put a great mic in front of it, but you can't do that live because there's too much feedback and stuff. You need the pickup.
Right.
Yep.
I've got
for sure.
What might help, even you were talking about with some of the ambience, you bring those mics closer, but we were talking about the drum shield, maybe having something in front of that so nothing comes back this way, so it's more focused.
Yeah.
Something that they could have there. But on the other side, I never heard a lady singer, aside from when it was pretty quiet.
Yeah, it was very faint. She could come up.
So maybe looking at those.
Yeah.
It looks like I see other mics, so maybe there's more singers at some point.
You did make me think of something else. I'm a bit of a snare drum snob. Like, I want a great sounding snare drum, and that one was not cutting it for me. And I don't think that's a mix problem. I think it's a drum problem. And it either needs to be, and Paul, you could speak to this, does it need to be tuned differently, or do you think they just need an entirely different snare drum altogether?
My standard on tuning is whatever you tune your snare drum to, tune the bottom head about a half a step lower than that. And that's going to give you that tight, crisp sound, but also still be open enough for whatever you want for your song. So
I would start there. Change the heads and tune it.
Change the heads.
That could be the problem. That could be why it's sounding so not so great. Is it just needs some new heads and a tuning.
Yep.
And if you don't know how to tune drums, I mean, that's a skill in itself. You could go to your local drum shop and they'll do it for you. Sometimes they'll do it for free. Even if you get your heads there, they'll put them on there real quick and do it. If you take your snare drum there, if not, they'll probably just charge you a little bit. It's amazing to watch them do that because they can tune a drum in like half a second. It takes me all day because I don't know what I'm doing. And then it still doesn't sound
And you can
good.
get all the tools for it. You can get the drum dial, and you can get all the extras, download this app, or you can just take it to this guy who can do it in 10 minutes, and you're done, and your snare drum's set.
Yeah. Right now we have a drummer who's comfortable doing that himself, so he's been doing it. But before that, we would have our local drum guy actually come to our church, and he would change all of our heads for us and tune our drums right here at our church. And he didn't charge that much for it, like a couple $100 at the most, to actually come here and do it and make our drums sound awesome. Well worth it. Pay the experts. Absolutely.
Please.
Please. Awesome. All right, let's head on to the next one. It's great to have EO from Kenya. Great to see. I wonder what time it is in Kenya. Drop that in the comments and let us know. It must be nighttime. We're close to it because we're here at 10 in the morning here in the good old state of Oklahoma. All right, what do we got next?
All right, next one is from Rachel Mahoney from Black Hills Cowboy Church.
Awesome.
I need help miking the cajon. They're using an SQ5, and they've got 2 hanging column of 6 speakers and 2 subs.
Well, let's hear that cajon.
Yep.
We get to hear Rachel's stream often. She's made such great progress along the way. So we'll stay focused this time on just that cajon and
see what we got.
See what we got.
And I want to know about being born again. I need you. Yes, Lord, I need you.
Only thing I'm going to say is I want to hear that tambourine or shaker or whatever that is, and I can't hear that. So I'd put a mic closer to his hand to kind of pick up that rhythmic part of that. But Paul, go ahead. You talk on this one.
Yeah, that's a cabasa. It's one of my favorites.
Nice.
And it's great, although they're not they're not meant to be played in that sort of fashion. They're meant to be played with two hands, one running back and forth. So that's going to give you that more crisp sort of hi-hat sound. But if this is all you got, it's all you got. But as far as the cajon goes, I don't know if where you have the mic placed on here, but what I call the snare part where you're hitting on the top, it's cutting through really nice. But it doesn't sound like it's cutting through the right mic, like it might be coming through a vocal mic. And if you've got another mic, there's usually a hole in those cajons, and that's where you want to stick the bass mic. And I'm not getting any bass on that, at least in my ears. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought the snare sound of it, the higher sound sounded good. I was actually looking for a drum kit. I was like, it sounded like an actual snare drum, so it sounded good. But yeah, I was kind of hearing the kick sound of the cajon, but not enough. And that could just be a volume thing, but it could be, like Paul said, a mic placement. You play with where that mic is inside the hole, right outside the hole, and then you find that right place that gives you the beef of the cajon.
Yeah, I wish there was a right answer. With these all wood instruments like that, it's just kind of, you've got to experiment.
You do.
There's no right answer because each one's different.
Yep, and so you have somebody sit up there during rehearsal and just hit it over and over, and somebody else moving the mic in and out until the sound guy's like, yeah, you got it.
Sometimes it's different every day because it's an all wood instrument. If you got cold weather that day, you're going to have a different sound. So
yeah, Rachel said she was using an SM57, and it's in the back. So Rachel, you just have that one mic on the cajon, or do you have more than one mic on it? We'll wait for you to answer that question. Somebody said the high pass filter might be too high, which that's true. It could be. That might be why we're not getting any low end out of the cajon. If they have that high pass like above 100, then we're not getting anything under 100. I would probably set that to just like 50 or 60 hertz if you're going to put a high pass filter on that. That way you can still get some low end kick type energy out of it.
You can check that in your EQ on that single channel.
Yeah.
On your PEQ, you can see what's really peaking on that. So then if you want to just bring up that one frequency, you can. So if you want to keep the high pass or low cut.
On your real-time analyzer, it'll show you what frequencies are actually coming through that mic, so you can cut below that. Yep. All right, she says she's just using one mic. So yeah, check your high pass filter. Make sure that's not set too high. And then, experiment with the placement. And you may, if you have an extra mic, I like to use two mics on the cajon, one in that hole that you used to get your kick drum sound out of, and then you'll put one in front of it to get your snare sound out of it. So experiment with that. And then you can mix the two. That way you can balance the low-end energy with the snappy energy out of that cajon. But really, it sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
You're doing great, Rachel. Keep up the good work. All right, let's move on to the next one.
All right.
And while he's pulling that up, I do want to tell you that our Collaborate Worship T-shirts are on sale this month. We only sell them in November of every year. So if you want to get a hold of those, you got to do it this month. On November 30th will be the last day, and then you won't see them again until next year. And how you find those T-shirts is you go to shop.collaborateworship.com. And there are several different designs there that are totally unique to us. We had an awesome graphic designer put those together for us. Some of them are funny. Actually, I'm pretty sure most of them are funny. Kind of like inside jokes for sound guys and sound gals. They're pretty great. So go check those out. They're $35 each, or if you buy two, it's two for $60. And there's even a discount the more you buy. And you're not just buying a T-shirt, but you're supporting us so that we can continue to train churches around the world and help churches sound great so nothing hinders the gospel. So go check those out when you have a chance, because you only have till the end of November.
Yep. I'll throw this in for Kathy at Crosspoint. Got your submission, but did not get a link. So you might take a look at that link again in your email and resubmit that so we can come check out your video next time. But this next one is John Pryor at Morrison Hill Christian Church. They said, random setting issue plus endless problems with online mixing and sound. Not right now. As far as questions, anything in the direction of just getting better sound quick would be great. They're using an X32. Honestly, don't have exact specs on the lights, ceiling mounted speakers and stuff. So let's see what they are dealing with.
Help and quick. Quick help.
We're going to start our services. We're going to pray here in just a minute, but
read a short scripture over us. This is a prayer that I find myself. Let our praise be your welcome. Let our songs be a sign. We are here for you. We are here for you. Let your breath come from heaven. Fill our hearts with your light. We are here for you.
The first thing I want to mention is that the three female vocals, they sound really good. Like they're in a great unison, but they're too loud in the mix. So I'd bring them down quite a bit in the mix. And also you are cutting too much low out of them. So they're sounding a little bit on the harsh side. And it's just because the low end warmth of their vocal is missing because that you're EQing, you're being too aggressive with cutting the low end. So bring some of that low end back in. Set your high pass filter or low cut filter. Those are the same thing. Set it to around 180 hertz. And if you're using my trick that I talk about in the course of a low shelving filter to even thin those vocals out more, that might be where the problem is. You're just being too aggressive with that. Small adjustments with that low shelving filter make a big difference on vocals. In this case, they need more depth. So give them more depth and then bring the volume down, and they're going to add a lot more warmth to this mix. And Paul, if you'll just keep playing that,
Yeah.
I want to hear it a little bit more.
To you our hearts are open, nothing here is hidden. You are our one desire.
Okay. Same thing on the lead vocal. He's too thin as well. We need to add some warmth back to his vocal. And then I think overall there's too much ambience in this mix, and I'm listening to try to determine if you're using too much reverb or if you have too much of your ambient mics in here. It's one or the other. You're going to have to go and figure out which one it is. I think it's ambient mics. They just need to come down. There's significantly too much ambience in this mix. So drop that down. Basically, you want to turn up, when it comes to ambience and reverb, you turn it up until you can hear it, and then you bring it back down just a hair until it blends in with the mix. You don't necessarily want to notice that it's there. And in this case, it seems more prominent than even the direct mix. That's going to make the biggest difference in what you're hearing here. That's probably what you're most frustrated with whenever you listen to this. You're like, what is wrong with this? That is the primary problem, is that there's too much ambience. So bring the balance of your direct sound and your ambience. Fix that, and your whole mix is going to sound different. And then fix your warm up your vocals, and then whatever Paul says.
Well, I'm looking at the instruments, and okay, so guitars and bass. So if you look at where they're playing on the fretboard, and then on the piano, you can kind of see he's right in the middle. So his left hand on the piano is playing the same frequencies as the bass, and his right hand is playing the same frequencies as the guitars. And notice they're playing in the same spots on the frets. So right now you've got everybody in the same frequency range, and they're all trying to fight for something. When if you've got a bass player, let him have the lows. And if you've got electric guitar, move him up to the mids. Let the acoustic play some chords. It's great. But then you got a piano player, you might spread out some high ends, bring out some of that right hand. So move that hand up an octave if you need to, or if you've got a transpose button, go up one octave. That's usually easier. But when everyone's fighting for that same EQ spot, it's going to sound muddy. It's going to sound just like you're underwater. And that's really the only fix on that, unless you got other thoughts.
That was wonderful. And of course, you're going to take an instrumental view of that mix. But yes, that definitely helps. And that's a conversation that you have with the band. That's not something you do at the mixer. So you can just, there's been times if I'm the sound guy, I'm like, hey, everybody's playing like the same thing. Can we get some variation? And that should be all you have to say to the band. And then they can kind of work it out from there and give you something a little bit different to work with. So yeah, have that conversation with your worship team. Warm up those vocals. Fix the ambience problem. And you're going to be like, there's your quick fix. It's going to sound better quick.
Yep.
Whenever you do those things. So, oh, by the way, your kick drum and your bass guitar sound really good. They really do. So, and your mixes, I know I just jumped right into giving you answers. Well, you asked for quick answers, so I guess that's what motivated me to do that. But I forgot to mention that you have a good mix going here. It's not as terrible as you make it seem whenever you what you wrote to us. So give yourself a break and then go make those small changes, and you're going to get where you want to go.
It's good.
All right,
I love it.
Let's move on to the next one. Thanks for sending these in, guys. This is fun. It's always great to hear from the different churches all over the place.
Okay, make sure I got the right one here. So I've got Joshua, I'm probably going to mess up this name, Ken Tomide, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Bradford, UK. It's a youth church. They are having issues with live stream volume and advanced compression techniques. They're using an X32. Their question is, does boosting EQ cause a channel to clip? And then what they're using, the hall is not too great. It's like a V-shaped hall. I wouldn't say speakers are placed accurately. They have some reflections. So
yes, boosting your EQ could cause your signal to clip. You should have a little more headroom than that. Then you'd have to do quite a massive EQ boost for that to happen. But if in my training, you're going to hear me say over and over again, the EQ golden rule is to cut before you boost. When you're listening to something, you should be asking yourself, what needs to come out of this for it to sound the way that I want it to, not what do I need to add to it, because it's going to sound better if you take away what needs to be taken away. For example, if you need clarity, you don't start boosting the high frequencies. You actually go and you start carving out the low frequencies. And it essentially does the same thing. Either way, it just sounds better to carve things out than it does to boost things when EQ. I'm not saying you can never boost. I mean, there's still a place for boosting, but it should not be the go-to. There's been many times that I look at somebody's EQ and it's just, all above the line, it's all boosted, and it's like, all right, let's level that out and try again.
Yep.
All right, let's take a listen. Awesome. I think it sounds really good. I was grooving there. Sounding good. As far as what you could do to take it to the next level, I think this mix actually needs a little bit more ambience. Those previous mixes, like too much ambience. This one could have a little bit more reverb in it or a little bit more room mic in it to bring it to life. It's just sounding a little bit on the dry side. And I imagine in the room it's a lot more lively than that. So just kind of try to match the liveliness of the room by using reverb and ambient mics in your live stream mix. So just bring that up a little bit. And it's going to take your mix to the next level. And the other thing I noticed is that the vocals were not, they were sounding like individual vocals. They weren't sounding like one group of background vocals. And so that could be a mix problem. Like you need to get your levels more level on them. I kind of you need to just visualize your background vocals as a group, and the goal is to get their levels to where they sound like a group instead of one being here and one being there or whatever, make them sound more like a choir. You could also add a little more reverb to them to help them blend together a little more, and it actually may be a conversation that you need to have with the vocalists themselves to say, I'm not really getting a nice united sound out of you guys, and that could just be the fact that they're not exactly singing together either, and they need to have some more rehearsals. So I think it's all of those things combined, and maybe you're not in a position where you can have that conversation with the worship leader or the vocals, and if that's the case, just do what you can do best from the mixer on getting their levels between them right, adding a little bit of reverb, and that's going to make them sound like a more of a unit than just kind of like these things off in the distance, which is kind of how they sound right now. What do you think, Paul?
Well, drums. I hear drums, and I'd love to hear more of them. And I think once you get the vocals first, let's emphasize that. Get them mixed, get them grooving, and then look at the drum set, because I'd love to hear more, and I just kind of hear a kick and a snare, which is great, but there's more to be had in this. And then you asked about speakers, and I've seen other churches with this same kind of setup, and it's not the perfect setup, but these aren't a bad setup. So don't beat yourself up on what you use what you got. And this setup's not too bad here.
No, pretty standard setup. I mean, it's really not much different than what we're using here at our church. We have 2 speakers in one sub, and the speakers are flown. They're just not on poles because we could actually mount them to the ceiling. But I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're not getting enough out of your speakers, it could just be the brand and the actual speaker that you're using. It's not that the setup of having them on a pole is a bad thing. You might just need something more powerful. For example, if you go from like your entry-level JBL 12-inch speaker versus their higher level, because they have 3 different tiers as far as this type of speaker, there's a huge difference in price. There's a huge difference in the way that they sound, and there's a huge difference in the amount of energy that one speaker can produce. So if you feel like you're not getting what you want to out of your speakers, you need to just invest in the higher level of speaker. You're going to notice a difference. Like we went from the ones that were more entry level to the ones that were twice the cost, and it was worth twice the cost. I would actually pay more than twice the cost because the sound is that much better to do that. So it's worth the investment, in my opinion.
And age does come into play. I mean, good speakers are good speakers, but at some point, it's if your speakers are getting old and they're getting tired, this is what happens.
Yeah.
So
it's true. True. Awesome. Thanks for sending that in. Just a few small changes going to take your mix to the next level, but you got a great thing going, so just keep it up. What do we got next?
All right. So this says John Beddison from Central Christian College of the Bible. Overall quality, what improvements could we make to our pre-fader stream bus mix? They're using an X32. We have a mono PA system in the house with 4 speakers fanning out from the ceiling and 2 large subs, one on either side of the stage. The auditorium is a gymnasium with drop tile ceiling, concrete walls, and wood floors.
Sounds fun.
So I'm guessing sound panels somewhere. And we have fluorescent lights in the gym, but during worship, we turn most of those off and rely on the 5 spotlights pointing down at the stage, roughly 45 degrees.
Cool.
So
Let's hear it.
get to a spot.
Let's
where
hear
we're
this
singing.
gymnasium.
You never know with these gymnasiums.
This heart open wide from the depths, from the heights. I will bring a sacrifice. With these hands lifted high, hear my song, hear my cry. I will bring a sacrifice. I will bring a sacrifice. I lay me down, I'm not my own. I belong to you alone. Lay me down, lay me down.
All right. I was trying to figure out if that in the first shot, that girl that had her mic way down at her chest, if she was the one singing or not. But I don't think so, because now I see somebody over there on the left that's holding their mic a little closer. I hear a lot of ambient noise. I feel like a broken record that all I'm talking about is ambient noise today.
Okay. The ambient noise episode.
The ambient noise episode. I don't know if it's actually a coincidence that these live stream reviews end up having a theme, or if I just get hung up on one issue and just keep that focus all the way through. Nevertheless, this stream has way too much ambience, almost to where it sounds like you have a chorus type of effect on that lead vocal, which is not a type of effect that you would ever want to put on a lead vocal, because you want the lead vocal to sound like very focused and prominent in the mix. And right now it's just kind of like it almost makes me feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Like, it's just like, what is going on? Like, it doesn't sound natural. You know what I mean? So it's just like, what is going on with this vocal? And so that's what I was trying to figure out as I was listening. As I was trying to actually diagnose the problem. I'm pretty sure it's too much ambience. If you have ambient mics in this mix, they're not helping this mix at all. The way, either where they're positioned or the way that the room sounds. So if that's the case, I would just take the ambient mics out of this mix and not use ambient mics. But it could be also the reverb that you're using. And you said you're using the X32, and so you can use the exact reverb setup that I recommend in the course, because it's based on the X32. So I would go back and I would review the reverb video in the course and set it up exactly as I show you in there, because I can tell that you're not using the same reverbs that I recommend in the course. And that's going to make a huge difference to get those reverbs right. You want to use effects in your mix, but you want the effects to be right. Decay time matters, the type of effect matters, the type of reverb matters, and this is just not working. What you have going on right now, it's not working. It's making it sound worse. And I've had that situation in my own mix where it's like you throw in a new reverb and then you start mixing it in, and it just makes the whole thing not make sense anymore. And it's because the reverb's not right. You're not using the right one. You're not using the right decay time, or what. It's amazing how much it can mess up a mix to get those effects wrong. So I would just start over with the effects. And also, like I said, if you have ambient mics mixed into this, just cut those out, because they're not doing this mix a favor at all. And that is the case sometimes with ambient mics. Maybe it's just because where you can only position them in a certain place, and that certain place, what you're picking up, the noise that you're picking up in that place from those microphones is just not suitable to be picked up. Like, it's not something that anybody wants to hear. So, that's the case. Don't use them.
Well, and those, being in a gymnasium, it's going to cause a lot of ambience anyway. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bouncing off of the walls, and unless you've got sound panels everywhere, like there's no getting around that. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a basketball floor or something. Yeah. Sound's going to go everywhere. So, like you said, less ambience.
Less ambience. And this, like I'm saying, this could be, if that is the lead vocal that we're looking at right here, that's right in front of the drums, and she's holding her mic like that while she's trying to sing lead, there's where your ambience problem is, because look at all that room between her mouth and her microphone that's picking up all kinds of who knows what noise on the stage. And if you take your ears out on the stage and you're just listening to the noise that's on the stage, it's not pleasant. And so when your mic's down like that, that's what you're picking up, and that's what you're throwing into the mix. And so if that's the case, you have to tell your vocals, microphone no more than an inch from your mouth. And it no more than an inch from your mouth. And what do I do if they drop it? You say, hey vocalist, microphone no more than an inch from your mouth. And you sound like a broken record until they get it. Because they may have a bad habit of holding it down there. And then, you know what? I'm so intense about stuff like this. If I had a vocal that kept holding their mic like that, I'd be like, okay, fine. I mean, you can't be on the team then, because you can't hold your mic like that. Because you're ruining the whole mix. You're throwing off the whole thing because you're refusing to hold the mic correctly. I'm getting a little fired up about this right now.
It's all right. I was going to say the same thing. And you can't set any of the gain correctly.
It's true.
And the moment they brought their mics up, things sounded better. But when everything was down here, it seemed like so far away.
Yeah.
And so that probably adds to the ambient problem. But get their mics up and then reset their gain, because that's going to change everything.
Yep.
Especially because what I'm looking at, those are SM58s, just basic mics. Mm-hmm. They've got to be close.
They've got to be close, yeah.
Yeah, those are not like instrument mics that pick up everything. They are right for the vocalists.
Yep. All right, so 3 things to fix. If you have ambient mics, actual ambient mics picking up the room mics, turn them off. If you need to go through your reverb and just start over, refix all your reverb based on the course video on reverb. And then third, talk to your vocalist there, make sure maybe she wasn't singing in that, and if she's not singing, that's okay, assuming that mic's not like wide open in your mix and you have it really loud. But yeah, and that's the main problem to fix in this. And then I want you to resubmit it next month, and we're going to talk about some other things, but I don't want to overwhelm you in this video. All right, so go ahead and pull up the next one, Paul.
I don't say anything about the drums. Not this time.
We'll talk about drums next time, yeah. Candace, your wife, is asking us a question. How do you know when it's time to replace your speakers because they're old? They sound tired. I'm trying to think of a better way to explain that. To me, whenever I listen to a speaker that's been used enough, it sounds tired. And what I mean by that is it's just not as clear as it used to be. It just has this. This seems so like ambiguous, but like when speakers are being worked too hard or they've been worked too long, they sound like it. Like there's just like, how else do I say this, Paul? It's kind of like when you're tired, you look tired.
Yep.
And you even sound tired because you talk differently. There's not as much there's not as much umph behind your voice. Yeah, you're a little slower. And it's the same thing with speakers. They start to sound to be tired. Kind of like a computer that you've had for a long time. It used to be real snappy and peppy, and now it's just kind of dragging. You know, it's kind of like it's sounding. The speakers sound like they don't enjoy their job anymore.
Yep. And that's not really much that you can fix. It's just what happens over time, especially when, you know, you're talking about the driver coming from the amplifier. Most of the time, what's connected to that speaker is just two little cables, you know, maybe 16 gauge. I mean, they're small, and that's what's really doing that. And after, 20, 30 years, especially if you've had speakers that long, might have been doing you well, but those little wires can only take up so much.
Yeah.
And, hey, Christmas is around the corner. Everybody's putting up Christmas lights.
Get you some new speaker
And
wires.
It's not just about I think about the wires, and we're in Lowe's, and it's like, do I get the light duty or do I get the heavy duty? It's like, well, what's the difference? You'll know the difference really quick when there's a fire. So
You're trying to scare people.
So get better speakers so you don't start a fire. Anyway.
There's something to be said for that, too, just about cables in general, is churches tend to cheap out when it comes to cables, whether it be mic cables or speaker cables or whatever. And that's not a place to cheap out. You need to invest in great quality cables, or else you're going to have noise, or else your speakers aren't going to perform the way that they could. Get some great cables. It's worth it.
Don't skimp out.
Don't skimp out. And if you want to know the cables that we use, we have a recommended gear page on the website. I think it's collaborateworship.com/gear, and you can see the exact cables that we recommend using. All right, let's get on to the next one.
All right. So the next one is from Elijah Ash from Cornerstone Church of God, and she just wants an overall mix. She wants to start around 28. Wants to see what she's got going on. She talks about her main. She's using JBL's 70Js. She's got a few subs, processor with a drive rack, and she's doing the Behringer Wing, which is nice.
Love the Wing.
It's one of our new favorites. So let's fast forward to where she wanted us.
Do. Oh, just like her, you calm the storm that surrounds me. And just like her, that darkness has to retreat. Oh, just one touch, I feel the presence of heaven. With just one touch, my eyes were open to see. My heart can't help but believe. There's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that He can't move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way.
I'm loving this. I'm loving the just the group that you have going on. You can tell they've worked together really well, and I was enjoying listening to that. Let's see. The main thing that I hear in that could make it better is it's sounding dull to me. I'm missing high frequencies, and I'm wondering where they went. So I would check your EQ. Now the question is this an EQ that's on the overall mix, like on your live stream bus? So check there, see if you have EQ going on. If not, check your individual channels. Like we're cutting above 3 kilohertz, and I'm not hearing much above that in your vocal. So it's kind of sounding like your vocals, but there's something in front of there. It sounds just like this, And so I was looking to see if is there foam things on the microphones, because sometimes it takes some of the shine out of a vocal, but I don't see any foam. Is there foam in front of those microphones?
There might be. It looks like maybe on these two singers. I don't see one here. Maybe this one, but I can't tell if that's part of the mic.
Which, I mean, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but foam in front of it. It doesn't make this big of a difference. So something else is going on here. So check all your EQ. Make sure you're not cutting. If you're cutting above like 3 kilohertz on these vocal mics, don't do that. They need that clarity in there. Maybe you're doing that for the room. Maybe your room's real harsh or your speakers are real harsh, so you're cutting out those harsh frequencies to make it sound better in the room. That's understandable, but there's a better way to pull that off. You actually need to add EQ to your main mix to cut out those harsh areas, and that's called room EQ. That way you're not cutting it out of the vocal itself, because when you cut it out of the vocal itself, it's cutting those frequencies out of the room and the live stream, when the live stream doesn't need you to cut those high frequencies out of it. So then it sounds dull in the live stream, it sounds great in the room, but you can have the best of both worlds by doing a process called room EQ, which there's a whole course. It's not very long, it's a short course. It's just a few videos on how to EQ your room. So I would recommend taking the time to do that. It's a little bit more of an advanced technique, so you may have to do it a few times to get it right. So prepare yourself for that. I would set aside maybe a whole Saturday, if not like the morning of a Saturday or something, just and go in with the expectation that I'm going to have to do this a few times. I'm going to have to go through these videos a few times because I'm probably not going to get it right the first time, and that'll help you. That way you don't get frustrated, because you'll expect the things that would make you frustrated.
Yep.
But yeah, we need to get that brightness back to the mix. Figure out where that's being eliminated, and that's going to make this mix really start to shine. And I would add reverb to this mix as well. It's sounding pretty dry, so review the reverb video in the course, add that reverb. If you don't want the reverb in the room, I can understand that. Not everybody likes that, but even if you're not using it in the room, you need to add some to the live stream mix, because in your room you're getting reverb. Your room has some kind of reverb in it. It may be short, it may be long, depending on how your room is, if there's carpet and all those kinds of things. But on the live stream, you're getting nothing. So it's just dry. Your vocalists are going to appreciate you putting reverb on them, because it helps cover up some of the imperfections of singing, because nobody sings perfectly in tune, and reverb helps cover some of those things up. That's why sometimes whenever you're hearing somebody in the room, you're like, they sound great. And then you go listen to them in the live stream, you're like, whoa, what happened? Yep. That's why.
I'll say the same thing about the drum set. 2 things: the ambient mics, or the overhead mics for the drum set, they can be a little closer. It looks like you're using a similar drum that we've got behind us, and those work great, especially for blocking that sound. But if you're wanting to get any shimmer from those cymbals, get those a little bit closer, and you'll be able to pick up some of those. And then on the wing, when you add that effect into the drums, room live drums is the one that we like best anyway. And I think that'll help with the drums.
Bring them to life.
Yep. Because it just sounds dead. It sounds like we've shoved them in one of those all carpet rooms, and you stay here.
Reverb to the rescue. Awesome. Somebody was asking, what effects should you use on a lead vocal? I like to use the same 2 effects on all of the vocals. I use a plate reverb and in combination with a hall reverb. The plate reverb needs to have a decay time of 2 to 3 seconds. The hall reverb can have a decay time of 3 to 4 seconds. The plate reverb is the primary reverb on the vocal, and then you blend in the hall reverb underneath that to even add a little bit more space to the vocal. So those 2 things together, great reverbs to use on all of your vocals, not just your lead vocal, but all of them. All right, what do we got next?
All right. So next up, we got Joshua from Faith House Ministries. Having the right levels and getting everything to blend together is their issue. The ideal effect for the online stream when using a bus mix. They're using the X32 Compact, which we really like. And then they have 2 RCF ART 315A MK4 15-inch active 2-way speakers and 2 Sub-Zero D 155. I love the naming.
Those speakers.
Some of those speakers.
Some of those.
We have these and a sub. Okay, great. And then they've got an LED PAR 64 in the back. Let's just take a look and listen.
And set us on the path of everlasting. Its glory are being transformed into his image.
There we go.
Belong to us. You alone, you alone. You are my strength. You
Awesome. I haven't heard that song in a while. It's good to hear that song. All right, let's see. First thing I want to comment on is the background vocals were too loud in this mix. And I think that there's some things that you could do to just make them sound more like a choir, which I know that's probably what you're going for. So first thing, bring the level down to blend them in more with the instruments. Think of the choir as one of the instruments. So you blend them in with that instrument mix. And then I would experiment with some panning because you have so many background vocals. It looks like you have at least 4. Not anything crazy. I'm not talking about pan somebody all the way over to the left. Some people go crazy when it comes to panning. Don't do that. We're talking about just some slight panning, and you want to do it for what you see visually. So start with your one on the left. Maybe pan them 15% to the left. And then the next one is panned 5% to the left. And then we have 5% to the right, and then 15% to the right. Something like that is going to widen out your background vocals there and make them really sound awesome. And then you mix in some reverb with that. I think if you spent just some time on making your background vocals sound really great, they're kind of like, they're not the star of the mix, but in this style of music, they're a big deal in the mix whenever you get it right. And I'm thinking of like whenever I'm listening to Charity Gale, she always has like just the most epic background vocal mix in her songs. And when they come in and they're not the prominent part of the mix, but man, they're there. And when they come in, it just makes the song. And it's the same sort of thing with the type of setup that you have. So spend some time on those background vocals with some panning and some reverb to really make them sound great. And your mix is going to take off to the next level. The only other thing I wanted to mention was on the drums. The cymbals were sounding sharp. So they need some EQ love. Maybe you're boosting a little bit too much. Harshness happens in the 3 kilohertz range. Somewhere between 2 and 4, with the peak being at 3, is where it sounds the most harsh to our ears. So I imagine that's where it's taking place. Maybe carve some of that out of your overhead mics so your cymbals sound more rounded. You don't want to take the sizzle out of a cymbal, and the sizzle happens like 8 kilohertz and above. So we're not talking about that area. We're talking about like around 3 kilohertz area. It needs to be carved out a little bit so they're not as harsh. What do you think, Paul?
No, you hit the nail on the head for me. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. So.
Sweet. All right.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Clean them up.
Yeah, go for it. And we'll just go ahead and move on to the next one.
Yeah, we've got a lot today.
We do have a lot going on today. Let's see. Let me see if we have any questions here. Somebody says, I just joined. Welcome. Thanks for partnering with us. Are you guys doing personal mixes from our churches? If so, I'd love some help on ours. This is what we do. This is like helping you with your personal mix by doing these live stream reviews, and we do these once a month. But also as a partner, you have access to one-on-one support with us, so you can schedule a one-on-one call with us at any time, and we'll get on the phone with you and talk you through any of the specifics. So you'll get an email with a link on how you schedule those calls. So do that whenever you are ready. Yep, you'll get to talk to Paul. Let's see.
Speaking of partner, that just kind of brought back something. So one of the options that we have when you join up for a membership is you can sponsor somebody as a partner. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
So you'll see whenever you go to partner with us, and then on the checkout page, you have the option to add on a sponsorship. And whenever you add on that sponsorship, it's $35 a month for yourself, or you can add on another $15 a month, bring it to $50 a month, and you're sponsoring somebody directly on another part of the world. And we'll even send you an email to let you know who you're sponsoring and what's going, like if it's in Kenya or like wherever it's from. And so when you add that on, you're directly sponsoring somebody to get the same access that you have. They have the same access to the courses, the same access to one-on-one support, the same access to live stream reviews. They get everything that you have just by adding that on at checkout. So be sure to consider that whenever you get there, because that's a great way to help somebody on the other side of the world for the cost of a lunch here in America. I remember when lunch was half that cost, but nevertheless, here we are.
We're not that old yet, are we?
No, it's just this. Just the last 5 years that we've all lived in have changed things quite a bit.
Yes, it has.
All right, what do we got up next?
All right, next up, we've got Don from Woodside, and they just said check our mix. Any reverb levels appropriate? ? They're using an Allen & Heath GLD 80, and they got Apogee subs and mains, 4 mains with a mix of wedge and in-ear monitors. So let's see what they've got going.
Love overcomes. He has done great things. He has done great things. Oh, hero of heaven, you conquer the grave. You free every captive and break every chain. Oh God, you have done great things. We dance in your freedom, awake and alive. Oh Jesus, our Savior, your name lifted high. Oh God, you have done great things. You've been faithful through every storm.
All right, awesome. Love what you have going there. Let's see, the vocals are just too much in this mix. And so just as far as the balance between the level of the instruments and the vocals are like way up here on the mountain and the instruments are somewhere down here. I can hear them, which is great, but they need to be closer together. So you need to visualize your vocals as sitting right on top of the instrumental mix. Not way on top, but just right on top. So bring those vocals down and then get a more rounded instrumental mix. I do love that they brought the electric guitar up in their solo there. Somebody's paying attention, so that was awesome. Overall, we could just hear more of the guitars and the piano. They need a more balanced mix to kind of fill in that area. Another thing that I would do is on those vocals, they're sounding a little bit heavy in the mid frequency range, and I do not like the sound, the 500 to 600 hertz range on a vocal. And so if I'm mixing for you, you're gonna see me go and attack that. That's like one of the first things that I do. It's like I'm getting rid of 600 hertz on these vocals because I don't like it. Not every vocal needs a cut in 600 hertz just because they don't naturally produce that sound that I'm not liking out of a vocal. But I'm just hearing a lot of that in this mix, that there's just a lot of 600 hertz energy going on in these vocals. And I think a nice cut there, put you a PEQ filter on these vocals, set to 6. Vocals are going to sound a lot better with that adjustment. So there you go. Make that EQ adjustment, and the other things that I talked about in this mix will sound really awesome. Yep. What do you think?
So drums, I would like to hear a little bit more highs because I'm kind of missing the hi-hat. It was there, but it's about 10K, 12K as far as the EQ goes. So you might look at the drum EQ and see what's popping up. And then as far as the guitar, it sounds like he's just plugged straight into the DI box. And that's okay, but having some extra processing. Now, if your guitar player doesn't have any pedals or anything to add a little bit of spice to his playing, the mixers a lot of times will have built-in effects that you can do for your guitar players. So you might take a look. So if he doesn't have any pedals, that's fine. So add in some reverb, add in some chorus, or do something to kind of spice up what he's doing. Some people don't like pedals. It clutters the stage, or maybe you don't have enough room. But I would like to hear a little bit more. But guitar's my thing. So
yep. So of course you hear it, but I agree with you. It needed some reverb. It's like his tone was good.
Yeah, it's great playing.
It just needed more. It just needed reverb added to it. That's awesome. All right, while he pulls up the next one, let's see. We got Elizabeth asking. She's looking forward to her review on the next show. Absolutely, Elizabeth. Just submit your live stream. You'll get a link. If you just signed up, you'll get a link to how to submit your live stream via email. If you signed up a while ago and you lost that email, I think probably the easiest way, just shoot us an email and let us know that you want the link to that. We can send it to you. I can't remember if when you log into the course platform, if there's a link there. While we're listening to this next one, I'll pull it up and let you know if that's a possibility. Siri Beats is asking where they can send their live stream. This is something that we do for our partners. You can partner with us for $35 a month. That gets you access to all of our courses, to one-on-one support, and live stream reviews. And when you become a partner, you get an email on how to submit your live stream. There's a link in the description on how you can become a partner, and we would love to have you. Awesome. Let's see. We've been having issues with our acoustic being heard as well as piano and vocals. We do have reverb effects added to both instruments and vocals. That's Apex. Where do we upload our links for our live stream? I hope I just answered that question, but if you need more information, ask again, I guess. Alrighty, what's next?
All right. We have, hope I pronounced this name right, David Pham from Jesus Zentrum. And they're looking to get a clean and balanced professional live stream mix for their mix. They're using a Behringer wing. We do have 2 rows of PAs and 2 subs linked together, placed in the center of the room, 2 stereo matrix for the PAs and 1 mono matrix for the daisy-chained subs. And no light tech yet, so we won't comment on their lights right now.
They got fire.
Dann auch in Wahrheit und im Geiste anbeten. Und das ist so.
Fangen die Kinder total frei an, sich dazu zu bewegen. Und das sieht total süß aus und das ist richtig, es erfreut uns. Das ist einfach natürlich.
Let's get to a spot.
How can I keep it inside? Praise the Lord, oh my soul.
Fast forward a little bit.
Yep.
Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Alive. How can I keep it inside? I won't be crying, my God is alive. How can I keep it inside?
All right, you got some good elements going here. It's sounding a little bit dirty, though, is how I would explain it. And I believe the reason that that's happening is that you're pushing your mix too hard against a limiter or against compressor, or you're actually peaking out the mix. And so you need to go to your overall live stream mix and just check your limiter, check your compressor, and make sure you're not overdoing it. How do you know if you're overdoing it? Well, on the limiter, if you're limiting more than like 3 to 4 dB, you're overdoing it. I'm not necessarily hearing that. Usually you can tell on that because a limiter kind of sucks in and out whenever it's too aggressive. So it's probably just a compressor really smashing down this mix. So it's just sounding like really like overdone, like whenever you cook your egg too long.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just being overdone. So back off some things and quit pushing it so hard, and it's going to clean up that mix. I'm going to comment specifically on the electric guitar, even though that's Paul's zone, and he can probably add to this. But it's too harsh. It needs a cut EQ wise in the 3 kilohertz range, and that's going to soften it a little bit. You want it to be clearer, but it's just too much. Also, when we got to that later on in the song and he changed his tone, there was too much reverb on his tone, so it made him sound like he was playing in this huge arena and everybody else was playing in another room, and that's something that you don't want to do with reverb. So yeah, if you have too long of a tail on your reverb when nobody else has reverb mixed in them, it really creates this disunity in the way that things sound. So you have to make sure that when you're using reverb, everything needs to share some sort of reverb. And the way that I like to do that is with that hall reverb that I talked about. I put 2 reverbs on vocals, plate, and hall. But that hall reverb I also put on instruments, and that serves as the glue to the whole band. So like even on Paul's guitar, whenever he's playing up here, he has his own reverb built into his pedal. But I'll still add a little bit of that hall reverb on top of that just as the glue across the whole thing. Because you can think of reverb as like you're putting them in a certain room. You're putting them in a bigger room than what you're actually in. And so if you don't use that across the board in some way as a glue, then it makes somebody, like in this case, that guitarist was like, he was playing for a huge concert somewhere in like a huge arena, and nobody else was. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So go
and
ahead.
the best way to do that is to have your guitar player play and then find out where that mix is at. And you have to, he's got a pedal board. And as soon as he hits that pedal, he's got to change that drive at his pedal because you got to get that level to match. And that happens almost with every pedal. You've got to dial in each one and it takes some time. And then once you get it, then it's easy for the sound guy who's in the back, like who's panicking. Why is he so much louder? That's because his pedal is turned up all the way, and it should not be. So that could just be a pedal problem.
Yeah.
And that could be an easy fix.
Yeah.
I don't have too much else to say aside from what you already said. You jumped in, so.
Well, electric guitar was kind of like he was a really good player, and you can tell he's really excited about what he's doing because he's dialing in those tones to sound a lot like the albums are. He's really working at it, and you can tell that. But I think it's just a little bit too, what do you call it? Not aggressive, but overdone. Like, it's just
a little too much.
Need to spend more time thinking about how does this blend in with everybody else that's with me on the stage instead of, and we can do that as instrumentalists. We can be so hyper focused. And I used to play piano for our worship team, and I would spend hours and hours and hours dialing in the patch for a certain song, and then I would come to rehearsal with the rest of the band, and it wouldn't work, and I'd be like, dang it. Now, a lot of instrumentalists, though, they'll do that. They're like, I already put all that work into it, so I'm not changing anything. And that's the attitude not to have. The goal is to be with the band. How do I sound best with the band? So there's been many times that I had to scrap all the work that I did creating a tone on the piano just to make sure that it sounded great with the guitar that was on the stage. Have you ever done that?
I've had to do that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm always looking back at our piano player and seeing how we can
mesh.
What is she doing in the back behind us, and then what am I doing? Yeah, it's always a process.
Yeah.
Every Sunday is different, and you wake up and, like you said earlier, when you're tired, you're maybe a little bit more slow, or things drag a little bit. One big suggestion I would make overall, and they're not that cheap, but if you can get them, you can actually get some click tracks for some of these. Maybe your singers, or for the most part, your instrumentalists. That way they're in time no matter what. So if you can pick up a click track or two, or just something, a few in-ear monitors that they can have, if you don't already have them. I don't see any on stage, but
it could be wireless.
Yeah, they have some wireless options that can be run from the back.
They must be using in-ears, though, because I don't see any monitors.
I don't see any, but
yeah,
that would be a big suggestion, is making sure everyone stays in time, and then
they got to listen to each other. If they have in-ears, they have to be able to hear the other instruments in their in-ears and not just have only themselves turned up.
Yeah,
because then it makes it hard to tell if you're actually sounding good together or not. We're kind of getting into the instrumental side of things. We're supposed to be talking to the sound guy right now.
That's all right.
We care about both ends of the stage. Let's see, Spud. While you pull up that next one, I just want to mention that Spud MCAT, that says not being able to EQ channels separately for the stream is their big gripe. I want to fix that for you. You actually don't need to be able to EQ your channels separately for your live stream if you EQ your room. That is how you make it work for both. That when you EQ your room, then when you go to EQ individual channels, it's going to sound great in the room and the live stream. So that is the secret of pulling this off. EQing your room is whenever you put a reference mic in your room and you pull up a real-time analyzer and you see what's going on in your room and you make EQ adjustments on the main mix to color the sound to fit the room better. And so it's only coloring the sound for the room to fix your room's problems. That way you're not trying to make those adjustments on individual channels and messing up the live stream in the process. This is one of our courses that we offer to you guys, Room EQ Made Simple. We walk you through exactly how to do it. This is something normally the professionals would have to do for you, but we figured out a way to make it simple, and you can learn all about it by becoming a partner and then going through that course. Link in the description if you want to do that. All right, let's see what's next.
All right. Well, actually, Elijah from Cornerstone got a second one in here. So we're going to see if they fixed any issues.
Okay.
I don't know how they got a second one in here, but we got you. We're going to see what you have. Did you fix any of those?
The Lord, the highest praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on and give the Lord the highest praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And bless His holy name.
Well, I would say that you fixed things, even though we didn't even talk about it.
Great job.
Yeah, so great job. Because this is the one where everything sounded kind of dull, and it did not sound dull that time. And it's also one that didn't have reverb earlier. Now it has reverb. So It sounds like you went through the course and made some changes, and you are making great progress. So keep it up. I would focus on the drums next. They sounded good, but I think that they could sound better. So go through the drum course and dial in each individual drum. Drums take the most time, and they also take the most practice to get them right. I'm always fiddling with the drums. Even when I still run sound here at our church, I'm like fiddling with the drums. So anyway, this sounds great, though. I mean, it really does.
Yeah, sounds much better. And now they got a bass guitar on this one.
Yeah,
and
he was rocking it, too.
Yeah. Check the tone knob on these. Guitar players and bass players out there. I know we're more for the sound guys, but for the instrumentalists, check your tone knob. I've been playing with that in our worship team, and it's been awesome because I can do extra stuff, but I can turn the tone down, and it gives you a different kind of sound. And with this bass, I'd love to hear a little bit more punchy bass. So that's more neck pickup. So maybe play with that and see where you're at on the tone. And it's a whole new world when it comes to the tone knob, but you might take a look at that and see if that cleans up some bass parts too on that. So
sweet.
Anyway,
love it. I have no idea what the tone knob on the bass guitar does. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, it's wonderful. And then before I pull up the next one, Ian from 3 Counties Vineyard, I didn't have a solid YouTube link from you, so get that resubmitted and we'll get you in next time. And we'll move on to, from Carl Dumond, the Emmanuel Church of Long Island. It says, I feel like my sound is too full and I want it to be clean. I'm having trouble making the audience feel like they are inside the church during the live stream. They're using an X32. And they're just not sure how to answer any lighting questions. So if we got any tips.
Well, we haven't even been talking about lighting or visuals.
No.
Dylan's not here, so you're in the clear. He's in the back today.
Let's get to a song where we're singing here.
All right. Awesome. First thing is that this mix is being pushed a little bit too hard. You could back off on the overall mix and it would still be loud enough. And it would also sound better. So do that. Just a slight adjustment there. And then also the electric guitar, which I think is what that was. I had electric guitar and organ because it's a tone that's not familiar to me as far as electric guitar goes.
It's an electric guitar with like a chorus flange.
Okay, that's what was going on.
Extra going on.
It almost sounded organy too. At the same, it's like a organ guitar.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to call it. It was fighting with the lead vocal, and that's a frequency problem. If you carve out that electric guitar around 3 kilohertz, it's going to make space for that vocal to cut through better. So what that'll do, for lack of a better word, is going to dull out, let's say soften. It's going to soften that guitar. It'll still be nice and full and prominent, but it'll soften it in a way that makes room for the lead vocal to come through where it needs to come through. And speaking of the lead vocal could actually be thinned out a little bit. In those low mid frequencies, I would try putting a low shelving filter at around 900 hertz and then cut it 1 dB, 2 dB, and just kind of like cut it until you get to that place where it brings clarity but doesn't suck the warmth out of it. It's a very fine line, so use your ears and listen and get that in the right spot. But that'll clean up the vocal. So cleaning up that vocal and then also carving out those highs in the electric guitar is going to make this mix make more sense.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nothing from me aside from, I'll ask you this. What do you think about that snare drum? You're the snare drum snob over here.
That's not the snare drum that I would choose. It's kind of like a piccolo type of snare, right?
It's one of my favorites, actually. So I have to ask.
So that's why you're asking. Well, that's not one that I would choose, but that doesn't make it a bad choice. It's a stylistic thing. Some people like that. I like a more beefy snare. So that's just me. I want a big, beefy snare, and that's a very snappy snare.
Yeah, they pop a little bit, too.
Yeah, they pop.
And in this mix, I heard it just really come out, which is great. I like those poppy
There you
snares.
go.
But if you're not looking for that poppy sound, definitely dial that in.
Yeah, I think they're going for it though. So I'd say when you're going for that type of sound, you're nailing it. You're nailing it.
Yep.
Yep.
So good job.
Nailed it.
All right.
All right. Making sure we don't have any other questions here. I don't even know how to say that. Joe, we're going to call you Joe. Says communication is the most important thing between band and front of house. Absolutely. And yet, too many times, it's a broken, there's no line of communication between front of house and the band. And that's a sad story. Maybe it's just because the front of house person doesn't know how to communicate instrumentally, and vice versa. The instruments don't know how to communicate sound-wise. One way you can fix that is to spend some more time together, right?
Yep. I mean, we have rehearsals once a month at least. Spend some time.
All right, what do we got next?
All right. So we've got Anthony Murami from the Well Church, Kenya, clipping during praise and worship. They're using a Yamaha MG24 14 effects. They just have two 12-inch turbo speakers powered by 4,000-watt amp, raised in sounding tripod stands. Instruments are drums, keyboards, bass, and we'll see some more. And, of course, we have some room lighting. So let's take a look.
I don't know why I feel the burden for us to start praying for the elections as early as now. Let's declare us.
Exodus 12:51 says, and it came to pass. Turn to someone, tell them, and it came to pass.
And it came to pass.
Let's fast forward a little more song. I shouldn't have messed with it.
Glory of God that can do all things. Hey, Creator, say, Creator of the universe. What can't you do? What can't you do? What can't you do? What can't you do? Jesus. Name above every other name. What can't you change? What can't you change? What can't you change? What can't nothing, nothing. Jesus.
Overall, it's sounding good. I hear that clipping that you're talking about. You solve clipping by compression. You want to add compression on all of your channels. You have access to the courses, so go through the compression video and apply compression accordingly. You want compression at your channel level, and you want compression at your live stream level, plus a limiter on top of that. You can go through the live stream course to figure out how to do all of that. That's how you get the ability to have enough volume without the clipping. It's all about controlling those dynamics with compression. So it's going to take some time to apply all of that, but that's how you solve that problem. I noticed the lead vocal is sounding a little bit on the thin side, so back off a little bit on your cuts in the low frequency area. She needs a little bit more warmth in her vocal, so make that adjustment as well. It needs more bass guitar. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. It was sounding good, but it just needed more bass guitar, like quite a bit more.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And there's actually two ways that you can actually get this to the mixer if you want to actually control this a little bit better. Because right now, they're plugged into this amplifier, and these amplifiers in the back have a send out that you can just send to the mixer. So you're getting the sound of the amp, but you're not getting the speaker of the amp. But there's another way, and you can just mic the amp and maybe face the amp, maybe off to the side of the stage or somewhere, and then send that mic back. Both work great. I like the send out better because you get the exact tone that you want. Some people want the speaker. But either way, if you get that sent to the mixer, then you can start adding some effects. You can start adding reverbs and cuts and high pass and whatever you want to the bass. So then it's more connected with the mix.
Although you're not going to add reverb to the bass, so don't give them bad ideas.
No bad ideas? Oh, come on.
But it does allow you to add compression to the bass guitar and EQ it appropriately so that it sounds great. in the room. And maybe since she has that that amp on the stage, you're not really putting the bass guitar through the main speakers, which I could see that happening depending on how they're in a pretty small room. But you still want to plug it into the mixer to get it into the live stream. Even if you're not going to put it through the main speakers, you still need it plugged in so you can get it into the live stream.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think I'm going to call this a complete episode.
All right.
Right here. We have more in the queue, and I'm sure more will come, and we'll be at this again next month. So for those of you who are still waiting, just know it's coming. And if you have any problems in the meantime, you can always schedule a one-on-one call with us. If you're watching and you want to be able to submit your live stream for next time, become a partner with us, and you do that using the link in the description. You'll also get access to our courses and one-on-one support, and you'll help us just in general to make sure that we can get free training out to those in developing nations so that we can all sound great. And the whole goal is to sound great so nothing hinders the gospel. We want people to come into church and not even think about the sound because it's so awesome, or watch the live stream and not even think about the sound because it's so awesome. And we're helping churches all over the world do that. We have students in more than 53 countries, more than 8,500 churches, more than 15,000 students overall.
Man.
So such an honor to help you guys accomplish this for the kingdom of God. And don't forget, also, we have T-shirts that are only available in November of every year. So you have, about 17 more days to go order your T-shirts. Go to shop.collaborateworship.com. You can see all the designs there. They're all unique to us. You won't find these shirts anywhere else. They're inside jokes for sound people, so you're going to love to wear it. And people are going to ask you questions about what it means. It's going to be a good time. And also that also supports us so that we can continue on with what we're doing here at Collaborate Worship. So go grab a few T-shirts. And I think that pretty much does it.
All right.
You have anything else to say?
Not much. Go check out the courses. Go check out the instrument courses. And
Yes.
more mixer courses are on the way. Some people have been asking, so keep on the lookout.
So we already have the X32, the Wing, the QU, the SQ. Is that what we got? Am I missing one?
That's what we got right now. And then some people have been asking about the QU.
The new QUs, yeah.
So those may be coming pretty soon. And then also may have a little pre-Sonus mixer on the way. So we'll see how that goes.
Sounds good. Well, y'all have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye, guys.